I pressed the red button on my phone's voice recorder app the moment I heard my fiancée Sarah's hushed voice through our bedroom door, talking about getting rid of it before Logan finds out. My hand trembled as I held the device against the wooden frame, my heart hammering so hard I worried it would drown out whatever confession was about to spill from her lips. I know, Sarah whispered urgently into her phone. But Marcus, you don't understand. Logan's been asking questions. He wants to come to the next appointment with me. Marcus. The name hit me like a freight train. Marcus Hendricks, her ex-boyfriend from college. The same Marcus who'd called her drunk 3 months ago, begging for another chance. The same Marcus she'd sworn meant nothing to her anymore. The same Marcus who was now married with a supposedly perfect life in the suburbs. I'd come home early from my construction site supervisor job because I'd forgotten my tablet with the new project blueprints. The house was supposed to be empty. Sarah worked as a dental hygienist and her shift didn't end until 5. But her car sat in the driveway, and now I understood why. No, he doesn't suspect anything, Sarah continued, her voice carrying that sweet tone she used when she wanted something. He actually believed me when I told him I was pregnant. God, you should have seen his face. He was so happy, Marcus. It was almost sad. The floor seemed to tilt beneath my feet. The pregnancy, the positive test she'd shown me 6 weeks ago, tears of joy streaming down her face, the way I'd held her and promised her everything would be okay. Phone sound, that we'd be amazing parents together. The engagement ring I'd moved up 6 months to buy because I wanted our child to have married parents. All of it? A lie? Of course I'm sure, Sarah said, irritation creeping into her tone. I bought the tests off some pregnant girl on Craigslist, just like we planned. Logan's so trusting he didn't question anything. And yes, I've been keeping up the act. Morning sickness, food aversions, all of it. My legs gave out. I slid down the wall outside our bedroom, the phone still recording, still pressed against the door's edge. 7 years. We'd been together for 7 years. High school sweethearts. I'd built my entire adult life around this woman. The miscarriage happens this weekend, Sarah said matter-of-factly, as if discussing dinner plans. I'll tell him I started cramping Friday night. Some tears, some blood. I've got it all figured out. He'll be devastated, obviously, but he'll also feel guilty. Like maybe he worked too many hours, stressed me out, something, and guilty Logan is generous Logan. She laughed. Actually laughed. What do you mean, what's in it for you? Sarah's voice sharpened. Are you serious right now? Marcus, this is for us. Once I lose the baby, Logan will be so focused on comforting me, supporting me through the grief. I'll suggest we postpone the wedding. For healing, you know. And during that time, you'll file for divorce from Jennifer like you promised. Then, in a few months, Logan and I will drift apart naturally. His fault, of course. He became too distant after the miscarriage. Couldn't handle the pain, whatever story works. I tasted bile. My hand shook so violently I had to grip the phone with both hands to keep recording. 6 months, Marcus. That's what we agreed. In 6 months you'll be divorced, I'll be single, and Logan will have funded my exit with guilt money. I'm thinking I'll suggest couples therapy after the miscarriage. That's at least $300 a session he'll pay for. Maybe I'll even say I need a getaway to heal. That beach house you mentioned? Perfect. The bedroom floor creaked. I heard footsteps approaching the door. I have to go, Sarah whispered. I think I heard something. Yes, I still love you too. This is all going to work out, I promise. Jennifer's clueless, Logan's clueless. We're golden. Talk later. I scrambled to my feet and rushed down the hallway. My work boots barely making a sound on the carpet we'd picked out together last spring. I made it to the kitchen just as I heard our bedroom door open. Logan? Sarah's voice called out, surprised. Baby, what are you doing home? I stopped the recording. The file showed 18 minutes and 43 seconds. 18 minutes of my life systematically destroyed, all caught in digital amber. Forgot my tablet, I managed, my voice surprisingly steady. Site inspection got moved up? Sarah appeared in the kitchen doorway, wearing one of my old college t-shirts and leggings, her hand resting on her still flat stomach in a gesture I now recognized as performance art. Her auburn hair was pulled into a messy bun, her face makeup-free and beautiful. A stranger wearing the face of someone I'd loved. "Oh, honey. You scared me." She crossed the kitchen and wrapped her arms around me. I stood rigid, every fiber of my being screaming to push her away. But I didn't, because something cold and calculating had settled in my chest where my heart used to be, and it whispered, "Let her play her game. Gather evidence. Burn it all down." "Sorry," I said, carefully extracting myself from her embrace. "You okay? You're home early, too." "Slow day at the office. Dr. Morrison let me leave after lunch." The lie rolled off her tongue like honey. "Actually, I'm glad you're here. I've been feeling a little off today. Just some cramping. Probably nothing, but it's been worrying me." She was setting it up. Right now, 2 days ahead of her Friday schedule, she was planting the seeds of her fictional miscarriage. "Should we call your doctor?" I asked, playing my role as concerned fiancé. No, I'm sure it's normal. First trimester stuff, you know? I'll mention it at my appointment next week." She smiled and touched my face. "You're so sweet to worry. This baby is so lucky to have you as a dad." I looked into her green eyes I'd gazed into across candle-lit dinners, eyes I'd memorized every fleck and shade of, and saw a stranger, a con artist, a betrayer wearing the mask of my future wife. "I should get back to work," I said. "Okay, baby, I love you." "Love you too." The words felt like glass in my mouth. I didn't go back to work. I drove to a coffee shop 3 miles away, ordered a black coffee I didn't drink, and sat in the corner booth listening to the recording 4 times. Each playthrough revealed new details that shattered me in fresh ways. The casual cruelty in her tone when she discussed my reaction to the fake pregnancy. The way she and Marcus laughed about Jennifer's ignorance. His wife, an innocent woman who deserved to know she was married to a cheating snake. Jennifer. I didn't know much about her except what Sarah had mentioned in passing over the years. Marcus had married her 2 years ago, some whirlwind romance. Sarah had shown me their wedding photos on Facebook once, commenting on how desperate the whole thing seemed, how Marcus had settled because he couldn't have her. I should have seen the red flags. They were there, I realized, bright as blood. The way Sarah still brought Marcus up in conversations, how she'd insisted on keeping some of his old gifts, a vintage concert poster, a first edition book. How she'd been oddly interested when I mentioned that Marcus's construction company had bid on one of our recent projects. Had they been planning this for months? Years? My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. "Feeling better. Making your favorite for dinner. Pot roast. Can't wait to see you tonight." I typed back, "Can't wait. See you at 6. Then I opened a new message and scrolled through my contacts until I found Derek, my best friend since middle school and, conveniently, a family law attorney. "Need to talk. Urgent. Can you meet me?" 3 dots appeared immediately. "Leaving court in 20. Usual place. See you there." Derek listened to the recording twice, his expression growing darker with each passing minute. We sat in his car in the parking lot of Mulligan's Bar, the same dive where we'd celebrated our high school graduation, my college acceptance, his law school completion, every major life event. "Jesus Christ, Logan," he breathed when it finished the second time. "I'm so sorry, man." "What do I do?" Derek was quiet for a moment, his lawyer brain clearly working through options. "First, that recording. Virginia's a one-party consent state, so you're legally in the clear. You can use this. Second, do not, and I cannot stress this enough, do not confront her yet." "What? Why not?" "Because right now, you have something she doesn't know you have. Information is power, Logan. If you confront her, she'll pivot, change tactics, maybe even flip the script and claim you're abusive or controlling." He held up a hand as I started to protest. "I've seen it happen 100 times. Cheaters, when cornered, become dangerous. They'll say anything to protect themselves. So I just, what, pretend everything's fine?" "For now, yes. Look, she's planning to fake a miscarriage, right? Let her do it. Document everything. Every tear, every lie, every manipulation. The more rope you give her, the more thoroughly she'll hang herself. Derek's jaw clenched. And this Marcus asshole? You said he's married? Yeah. Jennifer something. I don't know her last name before she married him. Find out. She deserves to know what her husband's planning. Derek pulled out his phone. Marcus Hendricks, you said? Owns a construction company? Hendricks and Associates. They specialize in commercial builds. Derek's fingers flew across his screen. Within minutes, he pulled up Marcus's company website, his LinkedIn profile, and then, there she was. A Facebook profile set to public tutor because Jennifer Hendricks clearly had no idea she needed to guard her privacy. Jennifer was pretty in an understated way, with dark blonde hair and a warm smile. Her cover photo showed her and Marcus on a beach somewhere tropical, both grinning at the camera. Her most recent post, from 3 days ago, was a picture of a homemade lasagna with the caption, "Date night at home with my love, 5 years together, 2 years married, and I fall more in love every day." The date on the post matched the exact day Sarah's recording mentioned her last conversation with Marcus. That poor woman, I muttered. Yeah. Derek screenshot the profile. Okay, here's what we're going to do. You're going to go home, act normal, and document everything. I mean everything. Save all texts, record conversations when you can, take photos. Keep a journal with timestamps. Meanwhile, I'm going to do some digging on Marcus and his finances. If he's planning to divorce Jennifer, he might already have assets hidden. Should I tell Jennifer now? Derek considered this. Not yet. Wait until Sarah executes her fake miscarriage. Once that happens, you'll have irrefutable proof of the full scope of her deception. Then we tell Jennifer everything. Coordinate if possible. The last thing you want is Marcus getting tipped off by his wife before we have all our ducks in a row. This is insane. This is my life, Derek. The woman I was going to marry is... She's a sociopath, Derek finished bluntly. Logan, I know this hurts like hell, but you dodged a bullet the size of Texas. Better to find out now than after marriage, kids, shared assets. Right now, you can walk away clean. He was right. Logically, I knew he was right. But logic didn't stop the pain that radiated through my chest every time I breathed. Go home, Derek said gently. Eat the pot roast, play the part. And Logan, don't drink. You need to be sharp. The pot roast was perfect, just like always. Sarah had set the table with candles and our nice dishes, the ones we'd registered for at the wedding registry. Wedding registry. The wedding that was scheduled for 8 months from now. The deposit's already paid. The invitation's already designed. You're quiet tonight, Sarah observed, reaching across the table to squeeze my hand. Everything okay? Just tired. Long day. I forced a smile. This is delicious, though. Thank you. Anything for my 2 favorite people. She rested her hand on her stomach again. I was thinking, what do you think about starting a nursery fund? I know it's early, but I saw the cutest crib at that boutique downtown. We could start setting aside a little each month. A nursery fund? For a baby that didn't exist? For a miscarriage she was going to fake in 3 days. Sure, I said. That's a great idea. We talked about names. She suggested Emma for a girl, James for a boy. We discussed parenting styles, her mother's eagerness to be a grandmother, whether we should find out the sex or be surprised. Every word was a lie, every smile a manipulation, and I sat there across from her, nodding and agreeing and dying inside. That night she curled against me in bed, her head on my chest. I love you so much, Logan. I can't wait to start our family. I love you too, I whispered into the darkness. And technically it was true. I loved the woman I'd thought she was. But that woman had never existed. Friday came like an executioner's deadline. I'd spent the previous 2 days in a fog, documenting everything Derek had instructed while maintaining my performance as the devoted fiancé. I'd backed up the original recording to 3 separate cloud services. I'd screenshotted every text message between Sarah and me. I'd even set up a hidden camera in our living room, legal in Virginia if it's your own home, just in case. Derek had been busy too. He'd discovered that Marcus had recently opened a separate bank account, had consulted with a divorce attorney 3 weeks ago, and had put his name on a lease for a beachfront condo in the Outer Banks, the same beach house Sarah had mentioned in her recording. I went to work that morning, but my phone stayed in my pocket, volume up, waiting. The call came at 2:47 p.m. "Logan?" Sarah's voice was panicked, trembling. "Logan, something's wrong. I'm bleeding. There's a lot of blood." "Here we go. I'm coming home right now. Have you called your doctor?" Yes, they said to go to the ER if the bleeding gets worse, but Logan, I'm so scared. Please, hurry." 10 minutes. I'll be there in 10 minutes. I told my site foreman I had a family emergency and drove home at exactly the speed limit, my hand steady on the wheel. The hidden camera in our living room was motion activated and cloud connected. Everything that happened next would be recorded. Sarah was on the couch when I arrived, wrapped in a blanket, her face pale. For a moment, just a moment, I almost believed her. She was that good. "Baby, I'm here." I sat beside her, and she collapsed into my arms, sobbing. "I think I'm losing the baby," she cried. "Logan, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." "It's not your fault. These things happen. Let me see. Do we need to go to the hospital?" "I don't know. The bleeding stopped a little bit ago, but the cramping is bad." She clutched her stomach. "What if we've lost our baby?" Our baby. The baby that never existed. "We'll get through this," I told her, stroking her hair. "Whatever happens, we'll get through it together." She cried for another hour. Real tears. I had to hand it to her. She committed to the performance. She let me help her to the bathroom twice, where she presumably added whatever props she'd prepared to sell the miscarriage story. When she emerged the second time, she was even paler. "I think it's gone," she whispered. "Logan, I think we lost the baby." I held her while she sobbed. I made her tea. I called out of work for Monday to take care of my fiancé. I played the devastated father-to-be so convincingly that I almost convinced myself. And the camera captured everything. Saturday morning, Sarah suggested we go to the ER just to confirm the miscarriage. I agreed immediately, knowing this was part of her plan. Get official documentation of the pregnancy loss to make it all more real, more believable. But Derek had anticipated this move. He'd coached me on what to say. At the hospital, when the nurse asked Sarah for her medical history, I spoke up. "Actually, I need to request something. Given the circumstances, I'd like a full hormone panel and ultrasound. I want to make sure Sarah doesn't have any retained tissue that could cause complications." Sarah's eyes widened slightly. "Logan, I don't think that's necessary." "I just want to make sure you're okay," I said firmly. "Please, honey, for my peace of mind." The doctor agreed it was a reasonable request. Sarah couldn't refuse without raising suspicion. The blood test came back 30 minutes later. The ER doctor, a tired-looking woman in her 50s, delivered the news with professional sympathy. "I'm sorry, but there's no indication you were ever pregnant. Your HCG levels are at 0, which would be unusual even for a very recent miscarriage. And the ultrasound shows no evidence of a recent pregnancy. No decidual thickening, no signs of implantation." Sarah's face went through a remarkable journey. Shock, panic, confusion, then a calculated return to grief. But I had positive pregnancy tests. Multiple tests. "Sometimes tests can be faulty, or there could have been a chemical pregnancy so early it didn't register," the doctor said kindly. "But based on what we're seeing now, I don't believe you were pregnant." I let confusion cloud my face. "But Sarah, I saw the tests. Multiple tests over several weeks." "I don't understand," Sarah said. "And God, she was good. She looked genuinely bewildered. I don't understand what's happening." The doctor ordered more tests. Sarah had no choice but to comply. Each test came back the same. No pregnancy, no miscarriage, nothing. We drove home in silence. I could see her mind racing, trying to figure out how to spin this, how to maintain the lie in the face of medical evidence. "Logan," she finally said, as we pulled into our driveway, I swear to you, I thought I was pregnant. Those tests were positive. I don't know what's going on, but I swear I didn't lie to you. I believe you, I said, and watched relief flood her features. You must be so confused, so scared. I am. She grabbed my hand. Maybe we should make an appointment with my regular doctor. Get more tests. Figure out what happened. Sure, whatever you need. She had no idea I was giving her rope. So much rope. Sunday evening, I made my move. Sarah was in the shower, and I pulled up Jennifer Hendricks's Facebook profile from Derek's screenshots. I'd found her email through a mutual friend's tagged photo. People really needed to be more careful about privacy settings. I created a new email account under a fake name and composed a message that took me 6 drafts to get right. Dear Jennifer, you don't know me, but I have information about your husband Marcus that I believe you have a right to know. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but Marcus has been having an affair with his ex-girlfriend and planning to divorce you. I have proof. Audio recordings, documentation, everything. I'm in a similar situation with the woman involved, and I thought we both deserved to know the truth. If you want to see the evidence, please respond to this email. I understand if you don't believe me or don't want to engage, but I couldn't live with myself if I didn't at least try to warn you. A friend I attached a 2-minute clip from Sarah's recording, the part where she discussed Marcus's plan to divorce Jennifer and how clueless Jennifer was. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. The reply came in 47 minutes. Who is this? Who are you? Is this some kind of sick joke? I sent her the full 18-minute recording. 15 minutes passed. Then, oh my God, oh my God. That's Marcus's voice. How did you get this? Who is the woman? Please, I need to know everything. I told her everything. The fake pregnancy, the planned miscarriage, the timeline, all of it. I sent her screenshots of Sarah's texts to me, photos from our engagement, context for every piece of evidence I had. This is Sarah Mitchum, isn't it? Jennifer wrote back. His college girlfriend. He's told me she's just a friend. He's had lunch with her for business reasons twice in the last month. I thought I was being paranoid when I felt suspicious. I'm so sorry, I typed. You weren't paranoid. You were right. What are you going to do? She asked. I'm leaving her. The question is, what are you going to do? The 3 dots appeared and disappeared several times before her response came through. I'm going to burn his entire life to the ground. Are you in? I smiled for the first time in 5 days. Absolutely. Jennifer and I spoke on the phone Monday afternoon while Sarah was at work. Jennifer had a voice that matched her pictures. Warm, kind, with an undercurrent of steel that I suspected most people missed. I've been documenting everything since you sent me that recording, she told me. I hired a private investigator yesterday. My brother's a PI, actually, and he's working for free. We've already got photos of Marcus meeting with a realtor at that beach condo. He's supposed to be at a construction site, but he's apparently house shopping for his post-divorce love nest. Sarah thinks the fake miscarriage worked, I said. She's been playing devastated, suggesting couples therapy, the whole routine. She has no idea I know. Good. Keep her thinking that. Jennifer's voice hardened. My attorney says I can file for divorce based on adultery, which in Virginia affects the division of assets. Marcus has been hiding money. My brother found evidence of cash withdrawals, cryptocurrency purchases, all the classics. When this hits him, he won't know what happened. What's your timeline? I'm serving him with papers Thursday. Yum. Public place, very dramatic. I want everyone to see. She paused. What about Sarah? I'd been thinking about this constantly. I want to expose her, not just to me, but to everyone. Her family, our friends, everyone who thinks she's this sweet, innocent person. Do it at your wedding. What? Don't cancel your wedding, Jennifer explained. Move forward with everything. Let her think she got away with it. Then, at the wedding, in front of everyone she knows, you play the recording. It was beautifully vicious. It was also insane. That's 8 months away, I said. So, you've already played along for a week. What's 8 more months when it means complete and total exposure? Plus, think about it. She'll have convinced everyone that you two worked through the miscarriage, that your love is stronger than ever. The higher the pedestal, the harder the fall. She had a point, a cruel, perfect point. I'll think about it, I said. Meanwhile, I'll keep you posted on Marcus's destruction. I'm thinking I'll invite Sarah to the divorce proceedings as a named correspondent. Really make this messy. I liked Jennifer. In another universe, we could have been friends. But I didn't wait 8 months. I couldn't. Derek was right that I needed to maintain the upper hand. But Jennifer's idea of the wedding exposure felt too much like prolonged torture. For me more than Sarah. Instead, I planned for 2 weeks out. 2 weeks of playing the supportive fiancé, while Sarah attended fake therapy sessions she claimed were to process the loss, while she suggested we postpone the wedding just a few months, while she texted Marcus thinking I couldn't see the deleted messages. I'd installed monitoring software on our shared laptop that backed up everything to a cloud server Derek controlled. I discovered they were planning to meet in person. Thursday, 2 weeks after the fake miscarriage, at a hotel 40 minutes outside town. Sarah told me she had a dental conference. Marcus told Jennifer he had a site inspection in Richmond. Jennifer and I had other plans. Wednesday night, I told Sarah I'd been doing some thinking. You're right about postponing the wedding. I think we need time to heal, process everything. Her relief was palpable. Really? You're not upset? How could I be upset? You went through something traumatic. We both did. We need time. She kissed me, and I felt nothing. You're amazing, Logan. I'm so lucky to have you. I'm the lucky one, I said, and thought, enjoy it while it lasts. Thursday afternoon, I left work early. I met Jennifer in the hotel parking lot, the same hotel where Sarah and Marcus had rented a room under Marcus's name. Jennifer looked different from her photos, harder somehow, with an expression that could cut glass. You ready for this? She asked. Are you? I've been ready since I listened to that recording and heard how my husband laughed about deceiving me. She held up her phone. My brother's got cameras in the hallway. We'll have everything we need. Derek had advised against this confrontation. Let them hang themselves legally, he'd said. But this wasn't about legal strategy anymore. This was about looking them in the eyes when their world collapsed. We waited in Jennifer's car until we saw Sarah arrive, wearing a dress I'd never seen before. 10 minutes later, Marcus pulled up in his truck. He was tall, athletic, conventionally handsome in the way that had probably made him popular in high school. Looking at him, I felt nothing but contempt. They met in the lobby, kissed like reunited lovers, and headed for the elevator. Now? Jennifer asked. Now. We gave them 15 minutes. Long enough to get comfortable, not long enough to finish. Then Jennifer used the spare keycard her PI brother had obtained through the hotel manager, a friend willing to help expose cheaters. And we walked through the hotel to room 412. Jennifer's hand shook as she slid the card through the lock. The door clicked open. They were on the bed, half-dressed, and the look on their faces when they saw us standing in the doorway was something I'd remember forever. What the fuck? Marcus started, scrambling up. Logan? Sarah's voice was pure shock. What are you... How did you... Surprise, I said flatly. Jennifer walked further into the room, her phone up and recording. Hello, Marcus? Surprised to see your wife? Jennifer, this isn't... We weren't... Marcus reached for his pants. Save it. Jennifer's voice could have frozen fire. I know everything. The fake pregnancy, the planned divorce, the beach house, all of it. Sarah's eyes darted between Jennifer and me, her mind clearly racing for an explanation. A lie. Anything. Logan, let me explain. Explain what? How you faked a pregnancy to manipulate me while planning to run off with your married ex-boyfriend. I pulled out my phone and played a clip from the recording. Sarah's voice filled the room. Logan so trusting he didn't question anything. The color drained from her face. You recorded me? I recorded you planning to destroy my life, yes. And then I sent it to Jennifer, because she deserved to know her husband was planning to divorce her for his sociopathic ex. Marcus had gone silent, frozen by the bed like a deer in headlights. How long? Jennifer demanded, turning to him. How long has this been going on? 6 months, I answered for him. According to the recordings. Sarah found her voice, that manipulative sweetness creeping back in. Logan, please. You have to understand. I made a mistake. I was confused. Emotional. You faked a pregnancy. You planned a fake miscarriage. You were going to steal money from me under the guise of therapy and healing retreats. My voice stayed level, cold. There's nothing confused about that level of calculation. I love you. No, you don't. You love the idea of me funding your affair. Jennifer turned to Marcus. I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. Adultery, with Sarah named as correspondent. My attorney is going to take everything you've tried to hide, including that beach house you put your name on. Jennifer, wait. Marcus finally found words. We can work this out. This doesn't have to. You promised to love and honor me. You stood in a church and made vows. Jennifer's voice broke, just slightly before hardening again. Now you're going to stand in a courtroom and lose half of everything you own. Some. More, actually, since Virginia takes a dim view of adultery. Sarah tried one more time, reaching for me. Logan, please. We've been together for 7 years. That has to mean something. I stepped back from her touch. It meant everything, until I found out it was all built on lies. One lie, one mistake. One lie? I laughed, bitter and sharp. Sarah, you've been lying for 6 months. Every morning you pretended to have morning sickness. Every time you put your hand on your stomach and talked about our baby. Every single doctor's appointment you lied about attending. Every conversation about baby names and nurseries and our future. That wasn't one lie. That was thousands of lies, stacked on top of each other, every single day. She started crying, real tears this time, but not from remorse, from getting caught. Jennifer and I left them there, in that hotel room with their shattered plans and exposed affair. We walked to the parking lot in silence, and when we reached our cars, Jennifer turned to me. Thank you, she said, for telling me, for giving me proof, for having the guts to face this head-on. Thank you for the same. What will you do now? I thought about the apartment Derek had already helped me find, the boxes I'd started packing in secret, the life I'd have to rebuild from scratch. Start over, I guess. What about you? Burn everything to the ground, then start over. She smiled grimly. My attorney is very good. Marcus is going to regret ever thinking I was clueless. We exchanged phone numbers, promised to keep each other updated, and went our separate ways. I moved out that night. Sarah returned to an empty house. I'd taken only what was mine, left everything that was ours. My ring sat on the kitchen counter with a note. Return this to the jeweler. Use the money to pay Marcus back for the fake pregnancy tests. She called 47 times. I blocked her number. She showed up at my new apartment. I didn't open the door. She contacted my mother, my friends, my co-workers with a story about how I'd abandoned her during her mental health crisis. But Derek had already helped me send a carefully worded email to the people who mattered, with enough context to protect my reputation without sharing the recording itself. Jennifer's divorce became the talk of our town's social circles. Marcus lost the beach house, half his business assets, and his reputation when Jennifer's attorney presented the recordings in court. Sarah, named as correspondent, became infamous overnight. 3 months later, I saw on Facebook that Sarah had moved to another state. Marcus's construction company was struggling under the weight of the divorce settlement and lost contracts from his now tarnished reputation. Jennifer sent me a text. His karma arrived express shipping. How's yours? I looked around my small apartment. Smaller than the house I'd shared with Sarah, but honest, clean, mine. I thought about the new relationship I'd started tentatively pursuing with a woman I'd met at a construction industry conference, someone who laughed at my jokes and didn't perform affection but simply offered it. Karma's treating me okay, I texted back. Slow rebuild, but solid foundation. That's all we can ask for, Jennifer replied. Building something real on honest ground. She was right. The betrayal had nearly destroyed me, had shattered every assumption I'd had about love and trust and partnership. but it had also freed me from a future built on lies. Sarah's fake miscarriage had killed something. Not a baby, but the illusion of our relationship. And from that death came the possibility of something genuine. I deleted Sarah's contact from my phone. I boxed up the last photos of us together. I took the money from the returned engagement ring and donated it to a crisis pregnancy center, finding some poetry and using funds from a fake pregnancy to help real ones. And I moved forward, one honest day at a time, building a life on solid ground instead of pretty lies. Epilogue. 2 years later, I married that woman I'd met at the conference, Rachel. A structural engineer with a direct communication style and zero tolerance for bullshit. Our wedding was small, intimate, attended only by people who'd proven their loyalty during the darkest period of my life. Derek was my best man. Jennifer came as a guest, bringing her new boyfriend, a high school teacher who looked at her like she hung the moon. During my toast, I kept it simple. Thank you all for being here to witness the beginning of something real. Rachel squeezed my hand under the table, and I knew she understood what I meant. Real love, real commitment, real trust. The kind you can't fake, no matter how good an actress you are. Somewhere, Sarah was living her life. Somewhere, Marcus was rebuilding his. But here, in this moment, surrounded by genuine people celebrating an honest love, I realized that their betrayal had been a brutal gift. It had hurt like hell, but it had also saved me from a lifetime of lies. And that was worth everything.